Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40k Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Chaplain, as we get into what it takes to become a Chaplain, and also the very important and very awesome role of a Deathwatch Chaplain. Those guys are probably my favorite unit in the entire Spacemarine arsenal, and you'll learn why, or you'll hear about why in a little bit. Again, if you guys have any suggestions for topic ideas or requests that you guys want us to create videos about, comment down below. Put suggestion followed by that request. With that said, let's get into 40 facts about the Chaplain. Chaplains are drawn from the ranks of the chapter, although only Space Marines who have earned both merit and devout badges are considered for the chaplaincy. These awards may be displayed as actual badges, or for example, as diagonal stripes painted across the right shoulder plate. As a first step, a Space Marine is singled out to aid the chaplain of his company as a novice. Duties often involve little more than assisting the chaplain during company rituals, but deep studies of the liturgies under the chaplain's personal direction is also necessary. Should a chaplaincy fall vacant, the most advanced and promising of the novice are sent to the solitarium. This small cell is situated in a secluded part of the chapter's fortress monastery, and there the novice meditates and fasts for a time. He may be left there for up to a week, while his investiture by the Ecclesiarchy and the Master of Sanctity is prepared. Then, in front of the whole chapter, he is formally given the symbol of office, and presented to the company who are now under his spiritual guidance. At this point, the new chaplain takes the name of his predecessor. When a chaplain is killed in battle, a formal ceremony often has to wait. The senior novice immediately dons the helmet and shoulder plate of the deceased chaplain. From that moment, he puts on the old chaplain's war gear. He has full authority as one of the chapter's spiritual leaders. He is formally invested as a new chaplain only when the battle is won and the dead are absolved. Chaplains of certain chapters have unique duties in addition to those laid out in the Codex Astartes. These are related to the chapter's background and individual traditions. In the Blood Angels chapter and its successors, chaplains are tasked with seeking out signs of the Black Rage and leading the various death companies into combat. A special class of Chaplain of the Dark Angels and their Unforgiven successor chapters are known as Interrogator Chaplains. It is their task of interrogating captured fallen angels and forcing them to repent for their sins against the Emperor before being killed. The Iron Hands have the Iron Fathers, officers who combine the duty of a chaplain, apothecary, and tech marine in a single role. The chaplains of the Space Wolves are known as Wolf Priests, and serve a function that appears exactly the same as both the chaplain and the apothecary in the non-standard chapter's great companies. Each chapter officially follows the basic tenets of the orthodox imperial cult of the God Emperor of Mankind, even as they maintain the older spiritual tradition of the Space Marines that holds that the Emperor was not truly divine, but an inspiration, an example of everything that a human being could become if he or she achieved perfection. In many cases, the veneration of the Emperor by the Astartes long predates the birth of the imperial cult, as an official state religion of the Imperium in the 32nd millennium. The Astartes' view of the Emperor's divinity or lack thereof vary widely between chapters. Individual Astartes chapters have extended imperial cult standard creeds to include ceremonies and rituals which has relevance only to their own members. For example, a deep reverence for each chapter's founding Primarch is often equal in intensity to that held for the Emperor. This belief is widespread amongst the Adeptus Astartes, as is the practice of honoring the heroes of each chapter who fell in battle and upheld the honor and traditions of the Space Marines in a particular notable fashion. A chapter's collection of Primarch relics and war gears is entombed in the chapter's catacombs, placed upon seculars or hung in the reclusium of the Fortress Monastery or flagship battle barge. The chaplains of a chapter often display the imperial holy symbol known as a rosarius, which is taken as a sign of fellowship between the faith traditions of the Astartes and the orthodox teachings of the Ecclesiarchy. The rosarius usually takes the form of a necklace or amulet in the shape of an imperial aquila, or the crux terminatus, often given as a gift to the chaplain of the Space Marine chapter by cardinals or other high-ranking priests of the Adeptus Ministorum. The rosarius is intended to represent the common faith of both the Space Marines and the members of the Ecclesiarchy in the Emperor of Mankind. In truth, there is often a great deal of friction between the Ecclesiarchy and the Adeptus Astartes, as the Astartes claim to be the direct descendants of the Emperor, and to have carried out his will from the moment of the Imperium's birth, while the Ecclesiarchy is an imperial institution that only developed long after the Emperor had already been interned within the Golden Throne. The dislike is often mutual, but the current decentralized feudal structure of the Imperium makes the Astartes largely independent of any legal authority outside direct decrees made by the High Lords of Terra. Deathwatch chaplains act in a similar role to those of other chapters by serving as spiritual leaders of battle brothers undertaking their vigil while on the Deathwatch. However, the challenge facing a Deathwatch chaplain are unique. The rigors of serving in the Deathwatch can be sorely vexing for Space Marines accustomed to the rigid, ordered life of their own chapter. Long periods of isolation await them, only punctuated by chaotic, often desperate combat against widely diverse enemies. The need to work alongside battle brothers of other chapters in the Deathwatch can be challenging in itself, particularly amongst those from chapters with long-running rivalries. Most of all, battle brothers in the Deathwatch are exposed to horrible truths about the true threat of the Xenos lurking just beyond the circle of the Emperor's light. They will witness sights that can shake their faith in its very foundation, and yet often ask only to watch and report back on what they have seen. The corrosive poison of seeming impotence and frustration can drive Space Marines to insane acts of self-sacrifice in a hopeless effort to overcome star-spanning evils. A Deathwatch chaplain must always stand ready to renew a battle brother's devotion when he falters, and to remind him of his duty and his vows when hope seems lost. On the most difficult missions, a Deathwatch chaplain will lead his battle brothers personally to ensure that their fervor is directed toward a victory, even if it comes at the cost of sacrifice of the entire kill team. The fierce dedication of a chaplain to his own chapter usually makes them unsuitable to become Deathwatch chaplains, although examples of such broad-minded individuals do exist. More typically, battle brothers find their calling through apprenticeship of an existing Deathwatch chaplain who has noted their unfailing zeal in pursuit of the alien. Once a Deathwatch chaplain takes his vows, he will seldom see his old chapter again, instead giving himself entirely to the long vigil and the duties of the Deathwatch. A Deathwatch chaplain must study extensively during his training. He must know the beliefs and values of 1,000 different chapters and their sometimes contradictory legends of the Primarchs by heart. A Deathwatch chapter must become a dedicated scholar of the Primarchs and the chapter's histories, originating at the very dawn of the Imperium. Thus, when a Deathwatch battle brother stands at the brink of despair or impotent rage, the chaplain will know the right literature and catechisms to speak, and of which chapter heroes or legendary battles of the past to cite that will inspire the warriors of the present. Deathwatch chaplains also make it their business to know every potential motivation, conflict, and agenda amongst their battle brothers before battle is joined. Many battle brothers are amazed by the knowledge of a Deathwatch chaplain, and in some cases, that knowledge extends even unto the deepest mysteries known only to the inner circles of the chapter's hierarchy. A Deathwatch chaplain takes no sides and makes no judgment about the individual chapters, and their long study grants them a perspective denied to most. Deathwatch chaplain doctrines hold that all Space Marines are united in their purpose of service to the Emperor, and thus bound by their vows to the Deathwatch must be united more than most. A chaplain will often be needed at many points on the battlefield. He must serve as an inspiration for his company squad, check on the purity of actions of those in his care, and carry out hundreds of other duties. Units frequently assigned Rhino armored personal carriers or land raiders to their chaplains to allow them swift and safe passage across the battlefield to wherever their ministration are often needed. Where possible, these vehicles are painted in the chaplaincy colors of black and marked with skull insignia, although line vehicles in the chapter's colors are also issued. And those were 40 facts about the chaplain. Now you know what it takes to become a chaplain, and pretty much the most interesting part about this entire thing was the fact that chaplains from the Deathwatch get pretty much a perspective of every single chapter. So a Deathwatch chaplain must know about the Wolfen Curse. They must know about the Blood Rage. They must know about, or not the Blood Rage, the Red Thirst, the Black Rage. So that's really awesome. That's really cool and very interesting. That gives me some ideas for future creepypastas and also some future stories. Hopefully that does the same for you guys. Again, if you guys have any questions, any suggestions, comment down below. Put suggestion followed by whatever request you want us to create a video for. And thank you so much for liking, commenting, and sharing. It's really important to us. It's really important to the channel and our growth for you guys to like, comment, and share. So if you share this on Facebook, Twitter, or Facebook, know that you are helping us create more content for you guys. So again, thank you so much for liking, commenting, and sharing. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.